we can use our parks department for their time and hours, we can calculate that in it. If we do any planning for this, that can count, those hours can count towards that match. There's a lot of ways we can get to the match without actually spending money.
Right, good.
And we will absolutely explore every one of those options.
Yep.
Yes, we will.
I got a question too. That 2040 grant, are they, or the 2040? Are they
80/20.
No, he's correct, he's talking about it.
Oh, 24.
2040?
Oh, the accounting.
Yeah.
Oh, 2024 year.
Oh,
Anyway, is that, are they driving, like it's gotta be sports related? Do they pick
So-
an activity or?
They don't
scope?
necessarily pick an activity, what they're after is basically getting people outside and exercising. And then they want to serve as big a population as possible. I know one of the key things in their grading metric is that it is close to a trail.
Right,
Um,
that's what I was getting at.
So they do have things like there that, the reason I've kind of picked on this grant is because I think we're not a perfect application, but we're probably 4 out of the 5 key items that they're looking for.
And this was implemented last year too, right? If I'm-
They've had this out for about 10 years
Oh, so
now,
it's a rotate,
but they rotate what their goals are on kind of yearly basis.
Okay, that's what I thought.
If you go to their website, you can also pick up past.
so are we competing against other local?
We're competing against other
Everybody in the
townships in
county.
Montgomery County.
Yeah,
Which is smaller than if a DCR where you're competing against the state. But if you go on their website, you also see past awards, and you will see similar projects being awarded.
right, right. Okay, thank you.
What type of courts?
It hasn't been
Okay.
decided yet.
Yeah.
I know pickleball is all the rage, but not everyone plays pickleball. Me personally, and this is just my opinion, the board can have a completely different opinion. I like courts that can be convertible, so that you can do one activity. One of the things that I have seen in doing some of the research leading up to getting ready for this is courts that can convert from basketball courts to pickleball courts, so that you can have 2 basketball courts, full-size basketball courts, and also 4 pickleball courts, and you can basically configure it ad hoc. But that would allow for enough basketball courts for an athletic association or league to do a tournament in a weekend. You need 2 full basketball courts to be able to do a tournament in a weekend, and that might be something that's, interesting not only to the school district, but also to local organizations as well. So I was kind of trying to get some of those dual purposes uses in there, not just a single function out of it.
Did you have something in mind, Ms. Wagner?
No, I was just saying, because Green Lane does have tennis courts that have pickleball on them. So when you were saying there isn't anything close by, there is pickleball.
That's still over 4 miles away.
Really?
Yeah, it's a decent ways. So when you do like.
But yeah, but it, yeah.
No, exactly, like we do, I see pickleballs everywhere. I drive up on
Oh, it's
Knifer
very popular.
from
Yeah.
422, so I drive by the
Oh, yeah.
gigantic pickleball courts
Yeah,
that
from
Limerick
yeah.
has.
Yeah,
And I was like, well, it looks like they could do tennis, but I don't ever see them convert some of them to tennis.
Right.
Some of the times, I'd like to be able to see some of that convertibility.
Oh, I like
So
that.
they
I like
just-
being able to do both, yeah.
yeah, that's what
For what that's
the Wyges started their pickleball leagues, and they're on the basketball courts that are
Yeah, so
marked up to
that's why I'm
10%.
saying, I think something convertible, because I think as pickleball becomes more accessible, basketball might become less accessible, or some other sport, or,
Will you have lights on it?
yeah, it would be lit. We do.
I know, right?
So this was one of the projects that's on the Public Works Department this year, and this was in the budget that was approved by the Board of Supervisors, is to redo the street lights out here.
Okay. Great.
Anyone else?
Okay, I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-01 to approve, to apply to county 2040 implementation grant.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Approval of awarding an electrical bid to R&R Electric as budgeted. We set a budget amount of $25K a year for an upgrade for our roads department downstairs. They run their compressor and a welder, it trips the breaker, shuts it off, we go to a backup generator. This is a much needed overdue upgrade here for the boys downstairs who put in all the work. We had a bid come in, 15,000.
Yeah, we bid these projects out in October because these were part of the 2026 budget. And so the contract I would like to award it to is R&R Electric. The bid is at 15,000, and the reason we did have that delta between our budget and the 15,000, award here, and kind of approval in this 26 budget for this, is because the panel box that is down there has been being stuffed for the last 30 years. And I'm not sure all of the work wasn't ad hoc at times. And so I'm expecting, once we start doing some of this work, for us to have some change orders and some modifications that need to be made as we start digging into this. It's a giant 400 amp box, and it has been, from my talk with Public Director, been tripping the emergency generator for about 6-7 years now. They haven't been able to run multiple appliances and tools in the garage for some time. So it's drastically needed.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that they have enough just in case any gremlins that pop up, any, sub panels that are hidden.
Yeah.
Somehow I think Fire Marshal Nate's shaking his head over there. Or scratching.
That we're able to do that and build that up to code
You didn't
and
hear
bring it
half
into
of
the
it.
modern century.
Yeah, we're gonna bring us into the 20s.
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve awarding an electrical bid of $15,000 to R&R Electric as budgeted.
We're not to exceed,
Not to exceed 25.
Not to exceed
In the amount of 20 to
25,000.
15, not to exceed 25.
yeah.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next is our Upper Frederick Fire Company discussion. So a couple of things had been brought up with the fire company here. One, recently, we had to have a meeting, I think it was on December 16th, we had this meeting. And it was just to discuss some issues that had come up with them. One, I got an anonymous email sent to me with a political banner out front the house. In 21, this was visited. By doing this, you can lose your status with, by having it out there. So whoever given it to me, I did bring that up to their attention. They know, that they shouldn't be doing that, and they gave us a reassurance they would not be doing this in the future. So that concern was addressed for whoever sent that in to us. Then there were some other things that came up with some financial disclosures. I think we were 10 years behind on what reports was it for, Aaron?
Yeah, they're supposed to give an itemized list of financials. We've basically gotten only a statement for the last 10 years. So we had a discussion with them to try to get that. We're currently working to get the most recent 4 years of documentation together. And we'll have, trying to set up an additional meeting, we'll be able to go over additional documentation and have additional financial focused meetings with them. And then, we'll go and start building from there.
Right. We did, this wasn't something new that we brought up here. It wasn't like the board was looking for something to bring up here. This was brought up by the prior administrations as well, seeking this information, and it just never had come out. So we had asked for this documentation. They had gotten back to us on the 23rd. We asked for the documentation. We got it back. It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. When we got it, the documentation was not suffice.
Bless you.
Bless you. It was not suffice. It wasn't to the liking of Mr. Walliser. There was nothing identifiable there. It was missing ledgers, receipts. It was frankly just a mess.
It was impossible to reconcile.
Right, we couldn't do anything with it. This is 10 years behind, and it's passed through 3 administrations now. So we do need them to come in compliance with it. So moving forward with these guys, I think Aaron had just had a meeting this morning with them as well.
We had a side conversation. I was meeting with them on a wholly separate issue. They have some work in the firehouse that's needed to get up, basically to follow guidance from the state about basically carcinogens and exposures and, hot and cold zones in the firehouse. And we're talking about, a grant project with that.
Okay.
With them, and we had a side conversation, and basically what it came down to was, I think because it's been such a long time since this has been given, and basically the state in 23 put out new guidance of what should be given. that there's a learning curve going on here. And we had a discussion about what we're looking for. And I put out a clarifying email to try to, make that even more clear, for the members of the firehouse. I'm gonna have, Jason come in for a really short stop to basically show them how we in the township do it, because that's basically what the state's telling the firehouses to do it in their manuals now. Their guidance from the state basically to account for the tax monies in the same way that basically townships do. The law doesn't require that, that's what the state is recommending for them.
Right.
And in my talk with them, I believe they want to come into compliance with that recommendation from the state.
Right.
And so we'll be trying to get all that information together for our next meeting when we meet back up with them.
Okay. Do you have one scheduled yet? We didn't schedule that yet, correct?
No, we haven't had that scheduled yet.
Okay.
We're trying to get, availability dates and things like this. It is a volunteer organization, so they've got families and jobs
Right.
and.
Yeah, I read that in their email when they wrote that in. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to know if we had a meeting set up there. And the other deeper concern for me is meeting with just random people from the firehouse. I think we need to meet with the treasurer and the president himself.
I agree.
I don't think we need to meet with just random personnel. I think we need those two. So although I enjoy Mr. Parkins coming in, I think we need to see Ms. Coleman, who's their treasurer, I believe, and she was on the email. I did know that she had something to do for this evening, and it was late notice, so I completely understand. But I think moving forward, she's the representative we need to have this discussion with. And there were some allegations made here. Middle of last year, there was brought two sitting supervisors, and they're not of minor importance. They were fairly severe allegations. So I think moving forward here, until we get the answers regarding this allegation, coupled with these reports here, I don't feel comfortable releasing any funds until we get them into compliance here. At which time, we should be able to get all these reports you're talking about. We should be able to get that done before September, when the pass-through comes in. And the other funds we can hold into an account until we get this information here and we can get to the bottom of the other allegations. Those are something that I can't personally walk away from. I cannot be put on the spot, told of something that could carry severe penalties for somebody. I need this to be cleared up prior for me to be moving forward. And I had told you about the allegations and you as well.
Right.
So that's something that I think we need to come together on this evening. And then as we move forward with this next meeting with Ms. Coleman, she's the one that can show us the other documentation to clear up what the avenue I want to go down next, or whatever avenue we feel is necessary. But we definitely need to clean that mess up first.
Okay.
So do I need to make a motion, or how do I proceed with that? Or Bill, do you want to talk about it, or Ms. Fisher, do you have something you want to say?
I looked at the paperwork that they sent us, and like you said, this has been going on for 10 years. And I looked at the paperwork that they sent us and poured over it and sat with it all night a couple of weeks ago, and it's just, you can't do anything with it. They won't tell us where the money's coming, you don't know where the deposits came from, you don't know where the money went, you can't reconcile it because you don't have any receipts, and it's a lot of money. And the accusation that was made was a very severe accusation that if I ignore it, because I personally heard it made, if I ignore it, I'm complicit. Because I'm responsible for spending your money. And I won't be part of that. So I'm I don't know how we do it, that'll probably be up to you, but I'm kind of leaning where we hold funds until they come through with all the documentation and we can see that it's going in the right places, and it's just a bookkeeping error that's going on. Because even the stuff that they did send us, stuff doesn't match up. There was a deposit made in error, the payback didn't match the deposit amount, in two different figures. And all these things that were, we have a deposit here for this, but it doesn't equal the amount of the expenditures we're showing. And that happens a couple times. So usually when it's stuff stuff doesn't add up exactly, there's usually a problem there. Hopefully it's just an accounting problem, but we do need to get to the bottom of it before we go any deeper with you guys' money.
That's where I'm at with it. So transparency is the biggest thing. We all three ran on this here, and we brought this to your doorstep. We were gonna be 1,000% transparent. I had just mentioned in the previous meeting, in the last 3 years, it was 3 right-to-know requests. The following year it was 10, and just last year, 35, we ended the year on? We ended 35. So, you know, we're being held to a standard, all of us are. And if I'm gonna sit here and tell you guys I'm gonna be responsible with your money, I better know where your money's going. And right now, I'm uncomfortable, to say the least, after what was said to myself. So I do think we need to get to the bottom of that first. And there was problems in the past that were brought up in this boardroom that were never addressed. So I think if we address them now, you know, maybe it's nothing at all. Maybe it's a complete misunderstanding. And that's what I'm actually hoping for here, because the allegations are horrific.
So can I assume though, Aaron, that when you're speaking with the firehouse over the next, whenever you're meeting with them again, and you're gonna review what you do from a financial perspective, that they will be educated for 2026, that everything that they're doing in 2026 will come into compliance and provide
That
for
is my
proper
goal.
audit documentation?
That is my goal.
Okay.
Yep.
So at least we're working forward. The backwards look is gonna take some time.
And that's why I
But
said
let's
until
make sure that going
September.
forward, we're in compliance.
Right,
And that's why we're looking at the most recent 4 years
Right.
here. Because I think that addresses the timeline that the allegation you guys had received is in. And I think it'll be the easiest for us to tackle up front here, to do the investigation that you guys have asked me to do.
Can I ask that we do a monthly reconciliation with them before
That
we,
is actually-
instead of waiting until the end of the year?
That is actually what the state is recommending, is to do that monthly reconciliation, so I'm hopeful that they will be receptive to setting up a similar system that we use here for our accounts payable, and that way it will become just, you know, a process for them, and it doesn't become any burden for them. You can see if they did accounts payable for the most recent year, we do know they spent 0 money in '25, so that accounts payable would be a very easy thing to get to us.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying that anything's wrong. I think they've been through 2 treasurers now in the last few years, right? I might be wrong on it, but I thought someone had told me that they had changed transfer.
I don't know the
Treasurer.
full history, I know that the treasurer who's in here right now has only been there a couple of months. So she's not fully aware of their systems, how they've been doing it, and fully.
Okay.
The past treasurer is that person still a member of the fire company?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the bottom of it.
We have a question to me?
So we're sending donations into them and,
No.
no, we are, as
Oh, you
You're
As
sending
a-
tax money. to
as
them.
drop,
No, no.
are. No,
yes.
she's saying
But
donations.
but they're sending out
Yes,
like requests for donations and we're sending the money in and they just don't know where that donation went to or what it went for?
they don't have to show us where that money goes. They have to show us where your tax
The
dollars
tax
go.
money goes.
Yeah, I just found that out too, myself. I sent in a right-to-know request. That's what, you know, I tried to do this extremely quiet. But I sent in a right-to-know request, and then that's when I found out they don't have to show you anything. They literally hired an attorney not to show me anything. So that's how we got to where we are right now. So, again, I'm not saying anything's wrong. They're, you know, maybe everything's okay. But I won't know until we get some other answers here.
Well, isn't it interesting that the treasurer's,
I don't know.
I hope not.
I find
Yeah,
that a little
not sure.
suspicious.
Are there requirements for a treasurer?
Of a volunteer fire
Skill
company?
requirements?
No.
There's no skill requirements, but there's a clear layout of
What they're responsible.
of what their responsibilities are there. And it's the, you know, bookkeeping, record keeping, keeping accurate financial records and ledgers, tracking income and expenses by category, maintain receipts, invoices, financial documentation, all this should be kept there, and whoever's in that position should probably be like Mrs. Wagner, she's an accountant. So you would think you would have somebody there that has that, but there's a whole list
It
of,
sounds like I don't wanna touch that with a 10-foot pole.
right,
Isn't there bylaws?
Yeah, QuickBooks is,
excuse
Where
me?
are you reading from? Is that their bylaws?
This here is just, so I tell you, I get things sent to me anonymously, nobody wants to ever put their face out there. There's after these, you can see why, look what happens with me. And this is just information they send me. So they give me what is the role of a treasurer in a volunteer fire department, and they print it out and
So
send it
it's
to
like
me.
guidance material?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. and they
Because
send-
I'm sure they have their own set of bylaws that say
I
what
would
a treasurer
imagine.
does.
I would
Oh,
imagine
they
they
do.
do.
They do.
They do, because they're a nonprofit corporation.
Mhm.
Right.
So they-
And that's part of the problem, that's why I had the discussion about the, the political sign out front. All this is affected by the IRS. If it came out that they were sitting here supporting candidates, they could lose their tax exempt status, and you don't want that, I don't want that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how this came about. Yes, sir.
Are the allegations, I know you're not, I'm not asking you for details, but are they like of alleged, like of a financial impropriety in nature?
Yes,
Okay,
and they came from a higher ranking person inside the house.
okay, thank
So
you.
it isn't like I'm just taking this,
Right.
I found this piece of paper out in the grass, that I wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't bring it here and say this stuff if I didn't get it from somebody that's authentic and I trust, so.
And again, these are just allegations and talk.
Absolutely,
Correct.
Nothing has been proven,
Nope.
nothing,
no,
And that's what we're trying to do, we're trying to disprove the allegations. If we
Yeah.
can get an accounting of where money went, then everything's nice, we say goodnight, and money flows again.
Yeah.
But if they can't, then we gotta look at other options.
right. And as watching over our taxpayer funds, mine, yours, everybody else in this community, I was worried about it. So there was a whole big thing out there prior to Ms. Fisher and I taking office in '24, where the past fire chief had resigned. And in going through this information and trying to track this down quietly instead of going out publicly, I see his resignation letter, and in there he complains about, wasting taxpayer funding. That's what shot a flag for me. I'm like, okay, now I got an allegation, I got a guy here saying something, and this is, he was the chief at the time. So there's a lot of backdrop there for me to say, let's take a peek, let's see what's going on here, make sure everything's okay. But by no means am I making any allegations myself. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of something that was said to us as a board, is what this is
Our
about.
best outcome is it's sloppy bookkeeping, they clean it up, we move forward.
That's what I'm hoping.
and the answer to your question is yes, you would have to make a motion.
Yes, you would have to make a motion.
Okay. So I make a motion to hold off funding until we can get through the paperwork, I guess, to verify their past audit. How would I want to say this, Ms. Vicki? They're 10 years delinquent on their information. I think we got the past 5, but we can't verify that either. So we're still sitting at 10 years we're deficient with.
To verify their annual reporting requirements to the township.
Okay.
They have a requirement under the second-class township code to provide you with an annual report of how those funds are spent before they get additional money.